Good evening, good day, good time zone out there. I am Josh.
And I'm Marichen.
And we are back with a reboot of Collector's Confessional, the podcast where collectors confess things. I don't know. We've never had a tagline.
No, but I feel like you don't know who we are at this point because there's been such a long gap in episodes. Because I'm a terrible human being and have had way too much going on.
No, you are not a terrible human being at all. At all. Life just got busy. Life just lifed. I think that's what happened.
In the short, I think so. I'm hoping maybe life will calm down soon and we'll get more back into the swing of things here on the podcast.
Marichen, why don't you introduce yourself to... Why don't we just treat this like it's our very first episode? Marichen, introduce yourself.
I'm Marichen. I am 23. I'm from Kentucky. I live with my husband, Jared, and our two cats, Delilah and Alfalfa. I've been a record collector for, I don't even know at this point. Let's see, 7 years. I've really loved and enjoyed collecting. I collect all different types of music. I also have CDs and cassettes, so it's not just vinyl. I'm a huge music nerd, just in general. I love pop, rock, 90s R&B and hip-hop, modern music. I love it all, honestly. I'm going to school. I'm finishing up in December. I'm going to be getting my degree in business management through Grand Canyon University, which is really exciting. And I know I've not shared this on the podcast, but if you watch my main YouTube channel, you already know this. I switched jobs. I was a paralegal for a while, but now I'm working in the durable medical equipment in a local pharmacy. So that's really exciting.
Oh, that does sound exciting. For those who don't know, I'm Josh, also known as Pirate Novelist in a whole bunch of different places. I do have a YouTube channel, but life has life. I try to post when I can. I'm also a lover of music. How many years has it been for me collecting? This is like year 12. It's been a long time. And for those who know me, and I could go into this story another time, but basically it was a tweet that started the fire that got me going. I like a little bit of everything. I like metal and rock are kind of like my comfort zones, but I do like pop a lot more recently. And like alternative indie stuff, old school country, a little bit of new school country as well mixed in there. As of recent, some old school hip hop, and recently I've been listening to The Weeknd and actually getting into that kind of stuff. And Dawn FM is actually a very interesting album. I was listening to it recently and really digging it. But we're both collectors. We've known each other for quite a while now. We've talked back and forth. We've never done a collaborative YouTube video, but we collab on this, so this counts as that.
I can't believe we haven't done a collab on a YouTube video, honestly, with as long as we've been friends. That's so weird to me.
Well, we'll have to do it probably when I get my new computer so I can edit a little bit easier and it's not wonky and I'm not on something that's like 8 years old.
Definitely. We'll have to work that out somehow because I can't believe we've not collabed on a video before.
Right. We've talked back and forth and we've inspired videos, but we've not actually directly, had an edited video or like a video and then a response video kind of being a part 1 and part 2. We'll have to,
right.
You know what? We'll have to rectify that.
We're going to have to come up with some mind-boggling, awesome, amaze-ball video that will shock and blow everyone away.
Yeah, totally. And I promise I am working on my Disney video. It's just when I posted that, it's already 3 weeks later. So when we're recording this, it's my work anniversary. I've had a half day off. I'm basically a data administrator, which I can explain some things. It's complicated, but it's in the real estate world. I'm not a licensed agent or anything, but I'm in the real estate world. It's a very interesting place, and we're not here to talk about that because there are other better podcasts that talk about what's going on in the real estate industry, and I don't want to talk shop while we're here.
Agreed.
So I work in the tech world. I understand things, but one of my favorite things, and one of the things I think we kind of based this on, was Record Store Day.
Yes, that's true. Our first
So
episode was about Record Store Day, wasn't it?
Yes,
I remember,
and our reboots is that.
Yeah. I remember we talked about like ourselves as collectors, and kind of did a little introduction, and we talked about Record Store Day. Like, wow, what a full circle.
So for those who don't know, Record Store Day is a way for labels to put out releases to celebrate independent record stores. That was the intent. Some people believe that they've kind of lost their way with that. I know we had some apprehension for the last Black Friday Record Store Day.
Yes.
And yeah, this one's not as bad, if I'm being honest. It's not hot garbage. We're just going to tell you like it is, if we like the list, if we don't like the list. But we're just kind of going over some highlights. And then, like we always do, our tips and tricks on the best ways to do things.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, I'm not like super excited about this year's list, if I'm going to be honest. I've not heard a lot of people that are super over the moon about this list. Is it terrible? No. But I think last year the reason I felt like this was such a money grab was because we had broken Record Store Day down into 3 drop dates. And then, it was July, August, September. And then in November you had Record Store Day. So it was like basically like 4 months in a row almost. You had some form of Record Store Day. And that just seemed so redundant and unnecessary. And, now this year, of course, we did have April, and then we had like a small like drop day back in, I think, June or July or something like that. And, that wasn't as terrible. But I definitely think they're kind of on the right track again of getting back to an April date and doing the Black Friday date. I just think that COVID kind of messed everything up.
It did, and we actually predicted a lot of this stuff that was happening, not pandemic-wise, but in a very early episode of our podcast, if you remember, we talked about the Apollo Masters fire.
Yes.
And we didn't know where things were going to go. We knew it was going to be rough, but we apologized because we didn't actually predict it would be this rough on certain things.
Right. I swear, like, I'm ordering records that aren't like even going to be available until like mid next year, and these are like albums that have come out like in the last couple weeks.
And there's reasons for that, and I even have a horror story of a record I've been waiting on for over a year and a half.
Yeah, that is true.
So that is not the discussion for today, but I think there are some things on this list that are kind of cool. Things that are back to the spirit of Record Day on some things, in my opinion.
Right.
But I'm looking over this list, and there's like maybe like 4 that I saw that I have passing interest in. Do you know how many you had? How many did you
I have 2.
Okay, I bet you I could guess what one of them is.
Oh, you can?
Yes, because we know each other so well.
Man, I don't know. Am I that predictable? I guess I'm going to find out how predictable I am.
Can I make a guess real quick?
Of course.
The Motley Crue Girls, Girls, Girls EP.
Yeah, that's my like number 1 pick.
Yep. And that was a tour that was canceled, I think. It was an EP that was sent out to, I think, UK record stations. I've been trying to do my best research. And this was a tour that was canceled. And it's just 4 songs. It's a 4-track EP. It was a tour primer, but they were canceled. It's on red vinyl. It has You're All I Need, Girls, 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 Home Sweet Home, and Looks to Kill. These are songs, a couple of these I actually don't have, so I might pick that one up just because of the couple of songs.
You should. You should totally pick it up. It's got some amazing Motley Crue songs, but like you said, this was supposed to go along with their tour for Girls, Girls, Girls and like the European leg of the tour, but it got canceled. And so this was actually still released and available, but this is the first time that it's ever been available in the US, and the first time, to my knowledge, that it's been available, like, at least officially, that it's been available in like 35 years since the tour. So I'm really excited about that. I love Motley Crue. I have a lot of Motley Crue vinyl in my collection, and I think this would just be a really fun piece to add to it. Do I have these songs? Yes. But do I have them in this specific format? Not necessarily, because they're not all on the same tenant. You know, I have to be weird about it. I have to make it some weird, random little collector's purpose of why I need it, because yes, I can pull out my records and play these 4 songs, but having it all in that nice little EP, and I think the red vinyl would be really fitting. I'm just really excited about this release, and it was probably the one reason I will get out on Record Store Day Black Friday this year, because my other pick isn't necessarily as exciting for me, as it's a Record Store Day first, so it'll get released in the future. So the Motley Crue Girls, Girls, Girls tour EP thing, I even forget what they're calling it. Let's see, what are they calling it? I'm looking at my list. The Girls tour EP. That I was right. I'm psyching myself out. Sorry, I've had a long day at work.
It's fine.
But yeah, that's the main reason I'm getting out this year.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Record Store Day there's 3 categories. There's exclusive releases, which are only on that day, and they rarely come out as a different version. You have the limited run regional focus, and then the Record Store Day first, which is it'll come out in a certain way, and then it'll come out in a different way later on. For example, I have the national tour, the national like live album, and it came out on digital, and I don't know if it's been repressed right now. I don't feel like looking it up because I want to only have the list up here. But sometimes they'll come out with this, and then there are some where it's like they're exclusive covers and this and that. So, so when it comes to that, Record Store Day Black Friday is typically the more quiet of the typical 2 that you usually see. So I don't see any like big thing that people are going to knock down everything for, like the Pearl Jam that we had there. Actually, I had quite a bit more, but it's like I'm not going to grab everything. But I'll go over a couple of them, and then we'll go to your second pick. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Bing Crosby, David Bowie, Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy. Ricken, you know me. I love my Christmas music.
I thought about that one, too. I thought that one would be kind of a cool piece to own. But, I mean, I guess it's kind of on, like, my back burner type list, like, if I see it kind of thing and it looks cool. But I think the concept is very cool, and I like Bing Crosby and David Bowie, and I love Christmas music. I just have so many 7-inches, and I don't listen to the... Is it a 12-inch? I thought it was a 7-inch. Maybe I misread it. No, it's a 12-inch.
It's a 12-inch single.
Okay. See, even another reason for me to not own it even more so now, because I have so many 12-inch singles, and they just take up so much wasted space.
Yeah,
for an album.
Yeah. That one was kind of on my radar. That one's kind of high up because I don't have that. And it looks like there is a live track on the back. I don't know if it's Bing Crosby live or David Bowie live. They don't specify. It is White World of Winter live at the Hollywood Palace 1965. So it could be a Bing Crosby live track. But that's kind of interesting. Another one is Dee Snider and Lizzie Hale, The Magic of Christmas Day. Again, Christmas, that's the theme. I did pre-order Lindsey Sterling's new Christmas album, and it's coming out in November. I'm really excited, but it's like I always pick like one Christmas album to add to the collection. And then sometimes you'll have something like this that it is a 12-inch single. This is Dee Snider and Lizzie Hale. So Dee wrote this Christmas song, and they performed it together. It's the album version on one side and instrumental on the other. You know, that was piquing my interest as well. Dream Widow. If you don't know what that is, for the Foo Fighters fans out there, this was Studio 666 was a kind of film that came out, and Dream Widow is basically like the evil band in this movie. So it's basically Dave Grohl doing metal music.
Okay. See, I hadn't gotten to watch that yet because I've just been insanely busy. But that's very cool.
I've listened to the music. I've not watched it, but I've listened to it. And Dave knows what he's doing. If you
100%.
read his autobiography, you know just how much he puts into music and everything. Jefferson Airplane live at the Monterey International Pop Festival. I don't have at all, if any, of Jefferson Airplane, and it basically has the tracks that I care about from them. And I've always loved, like, I've had really good luck on Record Store Day live albums. This is a first release, but you know, it was part of a box set in '92 on CD and cassette, so it's the first time on vinyl. I don't know what makes it different. It's only out of 2,500. I'm not usually like the limited guy when it comes to that, but it is Jefferson Airplane. It's got Somebody to Love, Other Side of This Life, White Rabbit, High Flying Bird Today. She Has Funny Cars, Young Girl Sunday Blues, and the Ballad of Me, You, and Pinelli. So it kind of has all the stuff that I'm looking for right now. Because tracking down some stuff, you know, especially with right now, even used vinyl has gone up in price. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. So what I'm going to do is I will actually wait 1, 2, 3, 5. So what I'll do is I'll do 3 and then have you talk, and then I'll do the final 2, and then we'll just kind of keep going from there. Sound good?
Yeah.
Smash Mouth, Fushu Mang. Was kind of on my list, especially because I really liked what they did with the Sugar Ray one that they came out with. What was it, last year or the year before? So I really liked that one. And there's some good tracks on there. Smash Mouth was kind of a thing, you know, when I was a kid. The big tracks on here would be Walking on the Sun and Why Can't We Be Friends, the cover. This looks like it's limited to 4,500 copies. It does it's on neon green and with a sleeve, lyric sleeve. So it was basically the same thing that happened there as well. What else am I looking at? Goldfinger, Hello Destiny, of course, the same thing, ska, all of that. You know, I've been getting into jazz a little bit more recently, and ska is, I feel, kind of like an offshoot of it in a way. When it comes to that, let me check to make sure I still see this. I'm going to tell you one that might surprise you. The Weeknd, Dawn FM.
Oh, yeah? You don't have a copy of that?
I do not.
Nice. See, the Weeknd, Dawn FM, and the Billie Eilish Happier Than Ever releases, I feel like those will be really popular, but I already have both of those in my collection.
Yep.
Dawn FM is a great album. I've really enjoyed it this year. It's not my favorite that The Weeknd has put out, but I think it's still a really good listen.
Yeah, and I love the cover. Like, I'm not that I'm not a fan of what he did with his cover, especially with the subject matter of the album, but to me, this I think this was the CD that they blown up for the cover. From what I've been
They had
hearing.
several exclusive covers. I think there were like 3 different like cover variants that were on his merch store. There was a Target exclusive, and I think maybe even a Walmart exclusive. I can't remember. There were several exclusives for CD and vinyl when the album first came out. And I remember, like, I'm not a huge fan of like the original cover art. While I understand why he picked it and how it fits with the album, I just think making him look like an old man and taking this really decrepit looking photo, I don't think it does the album justice, because it doesn't draw me into it. It doesn't make me want to listen to it.
Right.
So I really liked a lot of the alternative designs. I actually didn't even look at what photo they're using. I'll have to pull that up and look.
Yeah, because this to me says more of listening to the radio aspect of it and what he was going for lyrically and sonically. This to me fits as a better cover. Let me know. I'm actually here. We're recording this on Discord. I will pop the link in the Discord for you to make it a little easier on yourself.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a pretty
That was
cover.
actually supposed to be the Target exclusive that I ordered, but it wasn't. So I guess this is where that picture come from, because they were already planning on doing this record store day variant. So I guess that's where that come from. But that was my favorite cover too. I still went with the Target exclusive though. But
So
that was my favorite cover.
if I see it, I'll pick it up. Mainly the Jefferson Airplane is top of my list, just because I'm an old school fan of old school music, like generations before me type of music, and I love a couple of live albums that I've gotten from Record Store Day, especially the Tears for Fears live album. I love that. That's one of my favorite releases from Record Store Day. I'll put that on, and if I feel like I'm at that concert, and it was just done so well. So I'm hoping the same thing here. I've not heard that, but yeah. Since I have my last two coming up, do you want to say your next one? Hey there. I just wanted to thank you so much for making it this far into the podcast. It means the world to both Marichen and I. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of recording issues going into this, so you are hearing a little bit more cuts than usual when it comes to this. But we have something kind of cool planned for future episodes. But again, thank you so much for listening, and let's go ahead and get back into the podcast proper. So you were talking about how, and I apologize here, we had to do a little bit of editing. This is not recorded live. But you were talking about the Lady Gaga release. So it looks like it was recorded live at Jazz at the Lincoln Center's Frederick Rose Hall, P. Rose Hall in New York in 2014.
Yes, so this kind of coincided with their first collaboration album, which was called Cheek to Cheek. I really honestly didn't get into that album too much when it first came out. I thought that Lady Gaga did a great job with like the jazz vocals that she presented in the album, and I enjoyed it, but I really wasn't a huge fan of jazz in 2014. And I've kind of grown. I would like to think I've grown anyway as a listener. And when she released her live album Love for Sale with Tony Bennett last year, I fell in love with it. And so then I had to go back and listen to Cheek and see what I missed. And I realized I missed a really good album. And so when I saw that this live album was going to be on there, I was kind of excited about it. It is a Record Store Day first release. So if you don't get it on Record Store Day, you'll be able to get it at some point in the future. Which is kind of why I guess it's number 2 on my list, and it's not as big of a one as the Motley Crue release. But I really love Lady Gaga. I have most of her records in my collection. I think there's only like 1 or 2 that I'm missing at this point. And I think that this is going to be a phenomenal live album. I've never been able to see her live, but I would love to see one of her live shows at some point. And I think that her and Tony Bennett just have this weirdly amazing chemistry. And I really want to see that. So I'm pretty excited about that release.
Yes. My next 2 should come as no surprise. The Cure, Wish. Even though it is a picture disc, I hear the picture discs with The Cure are pretty good. Especially because I don't know where to get into The Cure. And it's like, I need to get into them at some point. So, and I think this one has the main song I like, but I could also get, the black pressing. So, really, it's not an essential for me, but unless it's like I see it on the day, maybe. But there's that, and then there is, even though I have a copy, it says it's been out of print for 10 years, but there was a 2018 repressing. I don't know if that was a bootleg or not. I'd have to check Discogs, but it's Lights Siberia Acoustic.
Ooh.
It's on gold this time. Let me check something here. Okay, here's the thing. They said it's not been pressed in 10 years, but there was a 2018 repressing via Last Gang Records that is on sale at Discogs. So that was an official release. So their wording is very misleading and FOMO. Shame on you, Record Store Day. But if you do not have this, this is one of my favorite acoustic albums, like, ever. If you've not heard Light's music, she's wonderful. And what she normally does is, a little bit after her album cycle, she goes and records, and this is sometimes, an acoustic version. So this was actually my first album by her that I got in my collection. This one is a gold vinyl edition, and it comes with a download card. It's a first release. Obviously, she's wanting to press it now so people can get their hands on it. That when she reissued Siberia, she only charged $12 for it. She wasn't even charging the premium that she could have charged for it. So, her putting this out there is actually a good thing. So this is one that, yes, while I have a copy, I'm excited because people can get their hands on it. Especially because the 2018 one is now, I think, out of print. And it looks like it is going for anywhere from $65 to $70 right now on Discogs. So I might pick it up for the novelty of it just so I can have an unplayed copy and maybe see the differences in the two. But it's nothing that's like crazy. And it's something that I can recommend for you, Marichen. It is a wonderful acoustic album, and if you're not into her more pop side, that she does the acoustic version. It's the same song, but it's just different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever listened to her before.
You could hear the structure of what she's doing with it. Also, we're finally getting the Watchmen soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
It's finally coming out. What was that announced? Like last year, Record Store Day?
I can't remember. It's been so long. Or
Well,
it feels like it's been so long.
I'm looking it up on a couple of sites. It looks like it's about $28, so it's not break the bank. The thing I worry about is some of these jazz releases being like $50. Like, I get it, but also like, come on, It's like I've not even looked up the prices of these things yet. That's because it's just like, Goldfinger is like $25. I'm going to a couple of sources. The Jefferson Airplane is $25. I would love to get that Jerry Garcia just because it was at Hampton Coliseum because hometown pride, but it's $87.
Oh my gosh!
It's 5 LP. I get it, but still, ouch.
Yeah, that one sucks. The Fleetwood Mac alternate collection, that sounded pretty cool, but I know it's an 8 LP box set. It's going to be ridiculous, and I probably am not going to want to pay what they're going to ask for it. So,
do you want to hear what the suggested retail is?
Oh, I don't know.
$175.
Oh, yep, I knew it. How did I know it?
I am going on a couple of sites. One is Bull Moose. I'm comfortable with using them now, especially with the change in ownership structure. Did you hear about that?
I did, yes.
So I'm okay with actually using them as a resource now. Again, we're not going into that controversy. It's long past. But there was some controversy. We used to use these guys a lot, and then there was some controversy, but now they're back to being okay, at least in my eyes. I did pre-order for next year a release from them. The Pretty Reckless is coming out with a new album, right?
Yes, I do.
So I pre-ordered their variants.
Oh, nice.
And the reason I did that was they know how much they're pressing, and they'll cut it off. So if I go with their variants and I can access it, then they know how much they have. When it comes to record stores, I'd never got a chance at that Avenged Sevenfold reissue, and that was a grail of mine. Didn't happen because they didn't know if they were going to get a copy.
Right.
So if you go with my thought logic is, if I go with the variant that's at the web store, they know how much they have. They know how many orders they have. They'll cut it off.
Right. That would be the logical explanation,
But of course, I also have learned that even if you get an exclusive from somebody, sometimes they don't even know how to fulfill an order. Target.
Yes. Yes.
I finally got that 90s record. You know how much chaos and pain I had to go through to get that.
Yes, I'm so glad you got that.
I'm going to be spinning it this weekend as of the recording of this. We're recording this on like a Thursday night.
Yes, Thursday.
So that's the list. Usually we have a lot more. I'm just skimming through it just to see if anything else would kind of pique interest. Duran Duran live at Hammersmith 82. That might be a fun one just to kind of go with my Tears for Fears. Just because it's like the 80s-ish. Let's see. It was released in 2009 as a one-off CD, DVD, limited edition. Has not been released on a physical format since then. Vinyl. It's on vinyl for the first time. Gold double vinyl. Now, is it the clear gold or is it the gold flake gold that causes issues when it comes to listening to music? That's what I'd like to know. Because sometimes if it has goil. Yes, I said foil and gold at the same time. My brain. Goil. If it has like gold, like the Carole King tapestry you gave me, I love it, but sometimes it does have static in between. That's just because of the way of the gold that's there. So Is it going to be a gold as in yellow, or is it going to be gold as in the flaked gold? Even though it looks pretty, it might cause some feedback.
Right.
I think it's that. The sword, maybe. I'm looking at some of these. Some of these, the images are finally coming in. But yeah, it's not as offensive as that one last year. Oh my goodness. You and I were on a call together, and oh my goodness, we were just tearing it apart. I remember you and I were just like, oh God, what is this? Ew, God, why?
Yeah.
Well, that's that. Coming out this week that we're recording this is the reissue of Alice in Chains' Dirt. And I didn't even realize this, but since it's my work anniversary, I decided I wanted to have like a nice 4-day weekend after it. Because where I work, I can get off a half day from where my tenure that I'm at my job. And I was like, okay, so, I went and had like a really nice lunch by myself. I went and ran some errands that I could get done so I don't have to go run up out that way. Because the city I live in, and Rick and I have talked about this, is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I was just running some errands. I'm like, even though I'll be up that way, I just want to go to the record shop. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go that weekend. Well, it just so happens that tomorrow, as of the recording of this, which might reveal the date, is the drop of the Alice in Chains Dirt reissue. And this is one I've been hunting for a while. So I'm glad to be able to have an access to a copy. I know there's other places that carry it if my shop runs out, but I plan on being there semi-early. Even though I'm having someone come in and fix some things in the house. It's like once they're done, I could head over.
Right.
But I'm really excited. I don't see any, when I was looking on Discogs, I don't see any information as to who cut it. But from what I've been hearing of the couple of people, the couple of YouTube channels that I watched that either got it early or their stores, so they used their copy, I've been hearing that it sounds amazing. And I was looking at it, and all the other pressings of this, it's on one LP. So all those songs are squished together, and as you head towards the middle of the record, you're going to have that intergroove distortion.
Mm-hmm.
There are some records I absolutely love, but I wish it didn't have the intergroove distortion on some of my favorite songs. Like, it is what it is. It's inherent in the format. But they got it right when they did the facelift, because they had Bernie Grumman cut that. And it was pressed in a way that it went a little more towards the middle. There were only like three songs aside. Apologies for the cut there. It seems a glitch. Gremlin is trying to make this episode go crazy. Now, normally this would be where the sponsored content would be, and this is where we put an ad, but we're doing this shit for free. So, we're rolling.
Yeah. Woo, look at Garacha. Garacha.
We're just rolling with this whenever it's going to be edited. But This is reissued. They did the facelift reissue with Bernie Grundman. So I don't know who mastered this one. I'm just trying to see right now. It just says Columbia, and it was cut at rare form. I guess from what Discogs says, people got their hands on it early. So I'm like, how is it gonna sound as good as that facelift? Because that facelift is one of the best records I have in my collection.
I'm sure it's gonna sound good, honestly.
Yeah, from what all the things I'm seeing, it looks like it's gonna point to that. So let's go now into our tips, tricks, and the last portion of our things that we like to do on this. So, first of all, hydrate would be my number one thing. And don't go crazy. Don't go judo chopping. This ain't, Walmart Black Friday of...
Don't go growling at people either.
Oh, yeah. Don't go growling at people. Especially if there's multiple copies in multiple bins.
Yeah, and especially if it's a Lady Gaga release.
Be courteous, be kind. Be courteous, be kind. Check with your local shop. Right now is about the time to check with your local shop. You can go on recordstoreday.com to find that information. Check with your local shop. They probably already ordered everything. Yeah, just this ain't, the record store days of yore where you're, elbowing somebody for that picture disc. Just be kind, be courteous. Yes, it's going to be a little expensive, but typically the Black Friday crowd is shorter.
Yeah, typically Black Friday is a little bit easier than the April record store day, just because there's a lot of Christmas music that is out, or a lot of really oddball releases. Black Friday record store day, at least in my experience, has always been the lesser of the two, honestly. Your April date is where you have a lot of your big heavy hitters, and then Black Friday is just kind of some stuff for shits and giggles.
Yep. So I think that's good for us for now. We'll be back with more episodes. Marichen, how can everybody find you?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube at Marichen's Music. I've recently changed that because, I don't know, I didn't really like having my full name. I wanted it to be something fun and music related, so I went simple. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Murray Ann. You can find me on TikTok at marichen.lehman. Yeah, all my socials will probably be in the description box below. If not, you can go to my YouTube channel, Marichen's Music, and find it all there.
Awesome. I'm basically pirate novelist and everything. I don't have a Twitter. I quit Twitter earlier this year for reasons, and my mental health has helped with that. So, we'll leave all the information down in the description. And do you have any closing thoughts, Marichen?
I don't. I think we've pretty much summed up Black Friday Record Store Day, and we're back with a sloppy bang.
Yes! You're hearing this all nice and edited. Previous me is going to have to go back and edit all this. Normally we do this live, but the gremlins got to this episode. But we're going to power through it.
Yeah, hopefully, my microphone doesn't go again because I've moved it this time. So if I sound a little freaky, it's moved to a new direction. So maybe the gremlins will leave us alone for 5 seconds.
All right. As I say at the end of everything that I'm in, when the waters get rough, please keep on sailing. Even if you feel like no one else believes in you, I believe in you. You're worth it. You're special. You are amazing. And with that, we'll catch you at the next meeting of Collector's Confessional.